What's up? Welcome in on this Tuesday as we wind down to the end of freaking April already. And if I made a bet on you tonight, I apologize. Javier Baez, Tyrese Maxey, Junior Caminero, who have all left the games that they're playing in early with injuries. Not really sure what's going on with Maxey yet. That literally just happened. Super distracted because the OG, Shane Doan, was just on the TV in Buffalo as that thing's getting into the beginning parts here of the second period. Plenty of stuff to go along. We have an NFL draft in the books. We have more idiocy from the NCAA. How in the hell does Carlos Mendoza still have a job? Plenty of stuff to go on tonight. Why are you bringing toys into the program already?
Hi, how's it going? It's not a toy. It's my
you don't get a high when you're holding up whatever the hell that is before I even bring you in.
It's our family trophy, one of them, for the Women's Royal Rumble Championship. It made its way up to the mountain this week. As you can see, I am the initial champion, and I am the only 3-time champion.
Yeah, there's names that need to be added to that. I was there for it.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's back at its rightful place. I just wanted to, next year I'll just win the men's. There you go. There you go. There's that.
Nonsense out of here. All right, now that hasn't derailed me, how are you coming off of arguably one of the worst sports weekends of your life in recent memory?
What do you mean? It was great. I played some golf, watched some basketball,
hockey. You're deflecting.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It was a great weekend.
I'm sure it is. You're going to get it.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it here. You're deflecting, and that's part of the process of grieving. So plenty of stuff to talk about tonight, though. So feel free to comment along if you're watching along. We'll get as many of them up as we can. If you've got a question to ask the panel tonight, which is just myself and Vegas Mack, TJ will be back with us tomorrow night on the program. Feel free to ask it if we move on to a different topic at the end of the show, as per customary now, because you guys asked us to do that, and we listen. We will get to any of those that are off topic as we clear out the mailbag at the end of the show. Sign up for our newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. It comes out every Tuesday morning. Another edition out today with a hat tip to one Anze Kopitar, who very unceremoniously skated off into the sunset and retired this weekend after Colorado took care of the Kings. On tonight's program, plenty of stuff to go through headline-wise. We're going to take a look back at the NFL draft and what we liked of it, what we hated of it. We're going to catch you up on what's going on in the NBA. Boston and Philadelphia, game number 5 tonight from Boston, 63-56. Sees up on the Sixers early in the third quarter there. We've got some more games going on later this evening. We've got hockey going on, so we'll get into both of those. Obviously, on Tuesday, we're going to get into some baseball. A lot of shit's going on in baseball. We've got a hat trick play for Wednesday night's game. So plenty of stuff to talk about. Cody getting the first check-in of the night. Shout out to Cody. Oh, man, the vibes looked high for a little bit. That's been a fun series. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. Vegas Mac, let's just get into the headlines because it's all going to come out here. And I'll let you start. I will give you the floor since I should, because you have a weird-looking trophy that you decided to display right off of the top tonight. Go for it. You start us off tonight.
So as we're watching the playoffs, it got me thinking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the finals, let's not talk about like the finals. But besides the finals, is there a round in a playoff tournament that is best to get a sweep?
Oh, like are you asking best as in beneficial to a team?
That's what I mean. Like I said, I mean,
Okay.
obviously in the finals you win a championship. It doesn't matter. But I'm saying, like for instance, we'll use the example. Carolina, they're done now. They're going to have a little bit of time off before they play. Is it best to get the sweep early, or would you rather go a little bit longer and maybe have it going into the finals? So is there a round that you think would be if you're going to get a sweep? What's the most beneficial round to get the sweep in?
I think the best round to get a sweep in is the finals. And that's because you can go, hey, we made it all the way to the end. We got to the finals and we beat ass. We went belt to ass. We finished it. As far as a benefit goes, I think that's a case by case basis. Like, for example, your Carolina Hurricanes could be looking at like 8 days off because of their sweep before they play another game. And if you are saying, well, there's no way in hell that's going to happen. I saw this the other night, and that's typically not a good look from a superstar hockey player, as we know from past experiences. So I think it's a case by case thing. I think if you can get in the first round and get a sweep, that could be a good thing, but it could also be a detrimental thing. Like if you're Carolina waiting around for 8 days, what does that do for you? Now, Carolina's a veteran team, so I don't think it would have a huge impact on them. But I would say, like, getting the sweep out of the way at the beginning of the playoffs seems to be probably the best time, if there is a best time, because if you think about it, you're coming off the grind of the regular season. Everybody's got somebody that's dealing with something that could use a couple extra days. And then when you get to the second round, maybe you're in full swing, you got everybody healthy, assuming you got through the first round healthy. But I think it's more of a case-by-case basis. But a sweep in the finals is always the ultimate. Shove that one up your cram hole, LaFleur. So, I don't know. That's how I'd answer that one, I think.
Gotcha. No, that's good. I was thinking, for me, I think it would be like one of the middle rounds. Like you don't want to sweep early on because you want to kind of start playing, and you don't want one right before the finals. To me, like that second round, if you could get a sweep in the second round, kind of rest you up, kind of get you focused in a little bit before you hit the conference finals, and then just go. To me, like I think that middle round would be the best, like best case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick's up 10 early on the Hawks here. Anybody that's watching in the Arizona area, can you tell me if the Knicks and Hawks are actually on local NBC? Because I have no idea why on my 4-box right now I have the Braves and Tigers on, because I could give two shits about watching the Tigers right now. The Braves are entertaining, but obviously I'm trying to conduct the show here, so I need to fix my multi-box. So if you're in Arizona, let me know if the Knicks and Hawks are on local Peacock or local NBC, not Peacock. Otherwise, I got TV issues. All right, let's keep going here. Mac, I've got a question for you as we sit here now, and Alex Cora doesn't have a job, and as of this morning, Rob Thompson doesn't have a job. In case you haven't heard, Don Mattingly is the next man up for the Phillies. He is now the new bench boss on an interim level for Philadelphia. They're in action against the hapless Giants tonight. But I have a question, Mac. How in the hell is Carlos Mendoza of the Mets still employed as we sit here at 5:42 p.m. on the West Coast on Tuesday, April 28th?
I think you just want to keep the train on the track. I think that's what it is for the Mets. And that's, these both Boston and Philly decided to take the train off the track is what they've done. Regardless of what they say, they've taken the train off the track. And I think for the Mets, what they're trying to do is hopefully if you keep the train on the track long enough, you'll get where you're going. And I think that's kind of the approach that they're taking.
That train's been derailed 3 times already this year. I mean, are we just trying to get the train back on the track here and hope for the best? Because I don't get it. If Cora got fired after his team put up 17 runs, and I know we're going to get into that, so we'll save the details of that for a little bit later. Thompson, I don't think it's a shock to anybody that he got canned. I didn't think they would have as quick of a trigger, but I wonder how much the Cora firing impacted that, because Dave Dombrowski, as we all know now, offered the Phillies job to one Alex Cora, and he turned it down, and that's how we got to Donnie Baseball in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, he wasn't going to go, excuse me, from one frying pan to another frying pan, regardless. I mean, now will they revisit that in the off season? That's a possibility. They probably could do that, but there's just no way that he was going to take something just days after getting whatever happened in Boston happen. There's just no way he was going to do that 2 days later.
Maybe the Mets are on. Everybody's fully aware of firings happening quickly and often as they are up 8-0 through 5 tonight against the Nationals. They've got a home run from Bo Bichette. They've got a home run from Juan Soto, which is always good for the production of the Mets offense there. All right, go for it. What do you got?
All right. So you talked in reference at the beginning. You talked about Kopitar and his retirement. So it made me think: was there one retirement that just made you the most emotional? Like it just hit you. Like, oh my God, I'm not going to see this guy ever again.
A tough one because I think a lot of the guys that would start to get me in that way are currently playing on my particular favorite teams right now. I know, and for me growing up as a kid, you would say, well, Montana when he retired, Rice when he retired. Well, they didn't retire as Niners, so
Right.
it took a little bit of the shine off for me. I know when Barry Bonds retired, I hated it because I knew that we were going to sit here and he was going to get screwed out of the Hall of Fame like he's been repeatedly screwed out of the Hall of Fame for whatever reason you might believe there. I answered my own question. The Knicks game is on local NBC, but I can't recall one. And it was funny because I put this in the newsletter in what I said about Anze Kopitar today. I noticed on Sunday when I was watching that, as he kind of, raised his stick for the final time to the home crowd there, it kind of got me in the feels a little bit, which was really weird for me because when you grow up in Northern California, you're born to despise everything that has to do with Los Angeles sports. But I'm also a sports fan first, and Anze Kopitar's impact not only on the Kings and the rivalry with the Sharks, but the Kings franchise and hockey in general, what this guy did, he is a throwback. He is a one of one, a 20-year guy with the same franchise. And in this day and age, that doesn't happen in sports anymore. Nope. So I found that one got me a little bit more than I was kind of expecting it to. I mean, I wasn't on the floor like full on bawling, but it was like, damn, this is one of the greatest players of my adult generation. And he's hanging him up. So I can't recall one specific one. I think most of those are coming for me soon.
Gotcha. It's interesting because for me, like a lot of times, it's most of the players that I watched growing up when they retired. It was like they retired at the end of the year. Like the season went, like they made an announcement, like they weren't coming back. It's kind of like I want to say a recent trend where guys have done it with the, we're going to give you the whole year celebration, kind of a thing. This will shock you, but the one that really got me the most, like emotionally, like was Mariano Rivera. Like, yeah. and that's just really funny to me. Of course, a Yankee, but like the way that they did it, they went out and got him, and it just, it was just like it was done so well. It just that was I was surprised that affected me as much as it did. I think the one that I remember the most as on a favorite team was Shane Doan. That was one that really kind of hit because that's kind of the same with like what you said with Kopitar. Just like what he meant to that organization was you couldn't even put it into words.
Yeah, Donor's a good one for me because and T and I have shared this story a couple of times. I've had season tickets for 2 teams in my entirety of most of my life in Arizona. Now, as we sit, it was the Coyotes and the Arizona Rattlers of the Arena Football League, and Shane Doan. Anybody that's ever come across Shane Doan knows how just stand up of a dude he was. I remember in my young, like first in broadcasting days, we did a couple of events and Doan was always great at giving us stuff to raffle off and just a stand-up dude. That's why, like, as we were starting the show and I saw him being interviewed by Jackie Redmond on the TNT broadcast tonight, I'm like, there's Donor. I've got a curse that the Buffalo fans are not going to like me expressing. We had a challenge of a goal in Dallas that was overturned, so it is still 1-1 Minnesota and Dallas. It looked like a boldy goal, but there was all kinds of shit going on in front of Ottinger. Buffalo still up 1-0 halfway through the second over Boston in that game that they're hoping for handshakes at the end of it. So let's stay in Buffalo, Mac. Mm-hmm. The scenes, we've seen them all from Buffalo. Oh, Joel Embiid's hurt. Another news. Today ends in Y and water's wet. The scenes in Buffalo, we've seen it all. The Blade Gang, they were the drum bangers tonight inside the arena, the rollerblading all over the city of Buffalo. Just the absolute scenes of Buffalo. We know the Sabres made their long-awaited return to the playoffs. It's been over a decade. What team that hasn't made the playoffs, Mac, in a while, do you think will have a similar vibe with their fan base when they finally get back? A team that you haven't, even if it's just for a few years. Let's say it's 3 to 5 years. Is there a team out there that you're like, I can't wait to see this team get back into the postseason?
Well, I got a couple. When I saw, I think the first one that comes to mind, I think of starting hockey. I think the Red Wings. It's been a while since Detroit has been in the playoffs. I think it's close to like 10 years since they've actually been in the playoffs. And Detroit is a huge hockey town, so I could see that. The other one, I know it sounds really, really silly, but I think the New York Jets. I think if there's a fan base that is very, very passionate, that, you know, kind of that Buffalo kind of the over the top kind of thing, I think it's Jets fans. And I think if and when the Jets make the playoffs again, I could see the Jets, that place just be absolutely crazy, because we know the passion that New York, New Jersey area has for its teams. I think that would be a good one.
Elias Lindholm has tied the game in Buffalo. For me, it's an easy one. You probably could have seen this coming from a mile away, but it's been 7 years since the Tank has seen playoff hockey in San Jose. And with all the momentum building and Macklin Celebrini being a finalist for the MVP this year, he's not going to get it, but just the fact that he's in that conversation, the future is indeed teal in San Jose. I can't wait to see that building rocking in the postseason again. I do agree with you on the Jets. I mean, the Jets, I think that would be one hell of a scene. And we're going to talk about the Jets, I'm sure, here in a little bit.
Your favorite child better than Jason Reinhardt.
Another one. Jesus Christ. You and your kangaroo court fines are starting to add up. We're gonna have to get you square on those.
He's hiking, so that he's calling me from his hiking trail.
What if he's down and he needs your help?
Well, hold on.
Oh Jesus!
Hey, are you good?
Oh, I forgot you were on your show.
No, that's okay. We just want to make sure you're all right.
Oh yeah, I was just.
Look, he's hiking. See, look at that view.
Beautiful, and he's upright, so we know he's safe.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty nice. All right. It's all right, Bob. I love you. I'll call you later.
Now you got Tony checking in. See?
We're a show for the people, for the family. Come on.
I think the Jets is a good call too. Like, I kind of thought Cleveland a little bit, but they were in the playoffs not that long ago.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's always going to be a scene no matter what, because it's freaking Cleveland. I was trying to think of a good one in the NBA, and there really isn't. There isn't one that totally jumps off the page to me. I mean, I think the teams that, like San Antonio, seeing them back and a threat in the postseason, right. I think that's been really cool. The NBA, I mean, we bust balls on the NBA all the time, but, you know, we're likely looking at... Well, we have a possibility that we don't have a repeat champion again. Obviously, Oklahoma City looks very much capable of doing it again. But the NBA is the one league that we've had multiple different champions over the last handful of years. So I think we've had enough teams get there. I think hockey, hockey, because the barns in the postseason in hockey are just it's something else. It absolutely is. All right, what do you got for me?
All right. NASCAR. We love NASCAR. Listen, they give a weekend off like for Easter. And so it got me thinking.
It's my favorite weekend on the NASCAR schedule.
Yeah, right. So should other professional sports do this? What I mean by that is to give teams a week off, or it does a longer time off to stop all of the quote unquote rest time. And I'll give you a perfect example: the PGA. Last week was a joke.
Signature event TJ coming back tomorrow night on the show.
And that was signature event. Like this is it's becoming a joke. It really truly is. It's they're going to start losing fans that they don't have. I'm being honest. But what I'm saying, if you built that into the schedule, would that help with having to give teams a week off? Again, I don't know how you would do it in all the schedules, but would that help instead of saying, listen, instead of resting your guys and not playing them during games, you're going to get through the course of the season. And for baseball, it may even be twice in the season. Give them an extended period off, more than an all-star break off to kind of recharge, rejuice.
I think it works in sports like NASCAR. It can work in sports like tennis. It can work in maybe the PGA Tour. And it kind of sounds like Brian Rolapp might be thinking that. By the way, just to ruin your day even more, it's back-to-back signature weeks, signature events coming up on the PGA Tour. But I think it works in some of the smaller sports. I don't know if it's... I mean, if you think about it, hockey kind of does that with the dumbass way they do the regular season schedule. It's like, oh, there's no games on this rando Friday night. How many times do we say that during the year? Or there's a game or two. So I think hockey, with the way they, even though it drives us mad and batshit crazy sometimes, hockey kind of does it with the way they lump their games together. Whether that's the smartest move or not for a major sport, I don't know. But I figured you had to get NASCAR in here some damn possible way. So
we're not done. It'll pop up again.
So thanks for the warning there. Is there one single ounce of any benefit to today's, what was seemingly an inevitable announcement, but we got it officially today, that the men's and women's NCAA tournaments are expanding to 76 teams? Can you make a single case for a benefit of expanding March Madness?
No. The only benefit I can see is more money. They're going to need another venue. That, I guess, I don't really know. I think it's a waste. Why ruin something that's so good? I think, and we've talked about this, the way college sports is right now. The playing field due to NIL is changing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't see it. I don't like it. We talk about it all the time. In football, we know that there's probably 5 or 6 teams that have a chance to win the national championship at the beginning of the year, and that's about it. Basketball, there's probably more. We could probably give a handful of teams that could probably make it, but other than that, these other teams are just not going to win. It's you're watering down a good product.
Yeah, and if you missed it today, Pete Thamel, about 3 o'clock on the West Coast, the NCAA has initiated the final steps to expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams, sources told ESPN on Tuesday. The expansion, which has been discussed for well over a year, is on track to be formalized in the upcoming weeks and would begin this coming season. Sources indicated mid-May as a potential timeline for an announcement. What do we know about it so far? Not a whole lot. The biggest thing is the mechanics of the expansion in the men's tournament would include 8 additional at-large bids. What's now known as the first 4, 8 teams playing 4 games in Dayton would expand to 12 teams. 12 games played by 24 teams at 2 sites. One of those will be expected to be remaining in Dayton. We don't know a whole lot there. other than that right now, but it sounds like the inevitable is in its final stages. So I don't see a friggin' benefit to it one bit whatsoever.
No, it just more garbage. I mean, yeah, move on.
Fire away.
All right. All right, let's have a little bit of fun. Ready? I'm gonna go.
We don't do that on this show.
No. So I was watching some old highlights the other day, and we all have gone out in the backyard, right? We all done the batting stance thing and everything else. But let's take it from a pitching standpoint. What pitcher did you think had the best windup? And like, for instance, I always, for me, like a Louis Tiant or a Dennis Eckersley, like those guys had like signature windups. What pitcher that you had like it was your go-to? Like you're playing your wiffle ball game and you had your go-to move. Which was it?
Cody's in his bag tonight. You're too old to be a kid practicing that in your backyard, Cody. I can verify that from several sources. First three names that come off the top of my head: Rod Beck, the shooter; Tim Lincecum, because it was goofy, and that's probably why I ended up tearing my shoulder the second time; and Fernando Valenzuela. I think the most iconic of all to me, probably because he was like Jason Voorhees to my childhood from a sports standpoint. But those three guys off the top of my, I'll be honest with you. Like I was a pitcher, center fielder, and a shortstop, so I had a good arm. I'm sure imitating a couple of these towards my end of my good arm days is probably why my arm is the way it is now, where I have to buy a special pillow so I can sleep with a hole under my pillow for my damn arm. But those were the three guys that came to me right away. But who did little Vegas Mack grab a bat in the backyard and try and imitate? Because we all know when we all love batting stance guy. Shout out to you for pulling the pitcher card there. I would have never thought of that. But who was little Junior Vegas Mack in the backyard? Like, were they making bats when you were a kid yet?
Yeah.
Or were we still using sticks?
Had the original wiffle bat. That was relic. It. Yeah, the relic. I mean, for me, I was always a big Fred Lynn guy, and so Fred Lynn was always my go-to lefty at bat. I think my go-to right-handing one would have been Rick Burleson, the Rooster. Look it up. He had a great stance. Yeah, that's
I'll have to look that one up.
Look up the Rooster, Rick Burleson. Look at his stance, and you tell me that that's not something. And this is the thing. And the reason I brought it up, we don't see that. It's a lot of the pitching stuff is so generic. Even hitters right now, so much more generic. Like we don't have those extremes. We don't have the Kent to Colby. We don't have the Al Hrabowski. You're looking at the Rooster, aren't you? Right down in here. Yeah. Yes.
What is going on there?
I wish. I would have liked to say Kevin Youkilis, but he was after my wiffle ball playing days. But I would have been all over you.
Just a little bit. I used to try and pull off the Gary Sheffield a lot when I was a kid. That was because, my two favorite swings of all time, and go figure in baseball, they're left-handed swings, but Ken Griffey Jr. and Will Clark. Those two guys had sweet friggin' swings, but I was a righty, and I just looked like three-quarters of an idiot trying to do anything left-handed.
I will tell you the other one, Matt, and we just lost him not too long ago, was the Gator, Mike Greenwell. He was also one of my faves.
I'm going to keep us in baseball here. Take us more back to a serious tone because that's what we always do on this show. Justin Steele, supposed to be at the end of this month activated off or transferred to the 60-day or off the 60-day IL. The Cubs have paused his rehab right now for whatever reason that they have. How much longer is this Cubs team going to be able to tread water with these pitching injuries that they have before they have to go out and get themselves another arm? Because it's getting close.
Yeah, and I mean they got off to a bad start, a slower start, not a bad start, a slow start, and then they've really picked it up a little bit lately. I think it's going to be soon. I think it's going to be interesting because that Central is it's not for the taking. Yeah, I mean it's going. And I said this weeks ago. I think the most fun division in baseball is going to be the National League Central. I'm going to stand by that. I think that's going to be a fun division. I think if you wait too long, it might be too long because uh, those two teams are pretty good. I like what I like the way Cincinnati's staying there. Pittsburgh, they're not going away. Even St. Louis. I mean that you better get some reinforcements soon.
I got the Reds fans all up in arms about a video that I posted from TJ and I having a conversation last week, and they're out in droves right now. Hey, Reds fans, look right there. If you think that I completely hate your team, look right there. I just don't buy the Reds right now. They're 8-7 or 9-8 at home, whatever they are. They've been really good on the road. Every Reds fan came back to me and they were like, "Well, our two best pitchers aren't playing right now. We have the Rookie of the Year, and we just beat the Tigers. If we can take 2 or 3 from the Rockies." When I heard that comment or read that comment in the video chat, I'm like, is this what we're quantifying this by now? Like, I know the Rockies are playing way better baseball. They hit their 13th win, the fastest that they've hit it in the last 4 years. They've got a fairly decent bullpen. I mean, they just basically swept the Mets, and Carlos Mendoza's still employed. But you taking 2 of 3 from the Rockies, Cincinnati, doesn't make me take you seriously. When you get through this stretch coming up with the Reds, and it is a pretty tough stretch here after they played the vaunted Colorado Rockies, and they've got the Astros, and they've got the Pirates, and they've got somebody else in the Central in that mix there coming up. Then I might be able to take them even more seriously. And as we know, we are slightly less than a month away, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more when we get to baseball later, but it's Memorial Day when we can go, hey, you guys are actually legit. Because then we've got a big enough sample size. Then everybody's dealt with a fairly even amount of injuries, a fairly even amount of home games, road games, division games, interleague games, the 9. That's when you know who's for real. So calm down, Reds fans. I know it's exciting. I don't hate your team, but I'm not going to buy you beating a struggling Tigers team and taking 2 of 3 from the Rockies as a great start to your season. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to. That's all. I just had to get that out of the way. All right, one more from you, one more from me, and then we'll get into the NBA.
All right. I think as we're going through the playoffs, so there's been a lot of good stuff. But my question is this. Is there really a home court or home ice advantage? And what I mean by that is, but you go to watch a college game, like you can really see where the fans like sometimes kind of affect the game, and maybe it's because of the age of the players too. But I'm saying, do you feel like in the NBA, like is there really a home court advantage?
I think in certain spots there is. There legitimately is. I think playing the Warriors when they were at Oracle Arena, that was a damn near impossible place to play. I think playing the Knicks when they're on a run, Madison Square Garden, just because of the aura when you walk in the building in general, the bigger the game, the higher the pressure, the way it's the lighting is done at the Garden, and again, this is all from somebody that like can't wait to get to the damn Garden because of these reasons. So I think there's enough places. I don't think in football it matters as much anymore in the NFL. I think Yankee Stadium and Citizens Bank Park in Major League Baseball are the only 2 places where I've seen a significant, like, there's a little bit of a zip to those places in the postseason. I think in hockey, there's a bunch of places like that. I think the scenes in Montreal have been ridiculous. Obviously, the scenes in Buffalo have been ridiculous. It's always very tough to play in Dallas against the Stars, especially in the postseason. So I think there still is some of that out there. I don't think it's as much anymore because teams are deeper and teams are more talented. And the COVID years, as much as it screwed up everything in everybody's life, especially in the sports world. Seeing a lot of these players that are coming into the league now older because we're getting finished with all the COVID years, so they're more experienced. As you've mentioned a bunch of times, they're professionals. I think it's thinner and fewer and farther between, but there's still some places. I think there is a big, you know this better than anybody. The TD Garden gets freaking rocking when the Celtics are going. That Celtics Warriors playoff series from a few years back, that was intense. And it obviously all started with Draymond Green. So I think they're still out there, but I don't think there's as many of them anymore as there used to be. But back in the Oracle Arena days when the Warriors started their run, that place was damn near impossible to beat them in.
For me, the place that kind of signifies that, I mean, the old guard, but like the Spectrum in Philly, that was just a place that, like you said, had that vibe. No matter when you went there, that was just, that's one place that just always sticks in my mind.
The Palace when the Pistons were good. I mean, Key Arena. Why we need the Sonics back? That place was also damn near impossible to play for a long freaking time. All right. We're going to get more into this tomorrow, but since we've already talked about golf a little bit, I wanted to ask you this one. PGA is returning to Doral in the Blue Monster for the first time in 10 years. And there's a lot of high-quality courses on the regular rotation on the PGA Tour. But there's also a lot of courses that we only see every so often. Maybe a course, since we're nostalgizing back a decade and returning to the Blue Monster and Doral, maybe a course you want to see on the regular rotation on the PGA Tour.
Boy, you know what? There's one, Oak Tree National in Oklahoma. It's a Pete Dye course.
They ever played a pro event there?
Yeah, I think they did.
Oak Tree National. Let me look it up. Keep going.
I thought they did. And I just one that when I look at like at golf courses that they talk about. Yeah, it's in 1988. I think they hosted the PGA Championship. That's one that they always say that would be interesting. That's one that comes to mind. Oak Tree Golf Club.
1988 PGA Championship won by Jeff Sluman.
There you go.
This is not going to be a popular choice. And I don't know if I'd want to see it on the regular rotation, but I hope that we didn't just see it in a one-off. But I would love for Chambers Bay up in Washington to be on the regular-ish rotation. You could give me an every, 4 years, every 3 years. I don't know if that'd be a popular one by the tour players, but that U.S. Open there was a hell of a lot of fun to watch because there was a lot of quirkiness to that course. There was a lot of high-risk, high-reward holes to that horse. That's a course That course I would love to see. I don't need to see it every year. But if you gave me that every 3 years, I'd be like, all right, I could get down with that.
I'd take that over what we saw this weekend.
All right, so now we know we're never going to be allowed to do the show in Cincinnati. We're also never going to be able to do the show from the Zurich Classic as long as it's in Louisiana. So we're thinning our herd, man.
Listen, no. Shout out to Louisiana. It's not your fault. Okay? It's not the course. It's not the city. It's the format. It's the format that sucks.
Yeah, the format is dumb. And again, I think, everybody's worried about what tournaments maybe are going to get bypassed or overlooked or taken out of the rotation. We've already heard what's going on in Hawaii with the new tour schedule and all that, and that does suck. But
think about that for a second, though. I mean, I know this isn't part of what we were going to talk about, but think if you were
who's going to tell us to stop?
I know, but think if you were a golfer, okay? I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to look at. Give me a second. I'm pulling up the tournament. Say I am golfer one. I don't know, 120, 130, whatever on the list, on the money list. Okay, and so here we go. I'm trying to find the. what we've already done. So give me a minute. So here, I'm trying. Got to go back.
This is
All right.
fantastic shit right here.
Yeah, this is good. All right. So
I was being sarcastic, you jackass.
April. All right. So I didn't make the Masters. Okay? I didn't make the Masters. So the week after the Masters, what did we have? A signature event. Well, I'm not good enough to play in that signature event. So I don't play that week. Right?
Okay.
Then
see where
what
you're going.
came then what came after the signature event? This week, right?
Team golf.
All right, team golf. So I'm still I'm not really playing normal golf. Okay, then I'm not good enough. I'm not getting into this signature event this week. I've gone now, Mike, 4 weeks without playing an event, and my livelihood is at risk. But I mean, not that they're not playing, but they're not. I mean, I would think
No, but your point is exact. I get what you're saying. You go Masters, and then you go team golf, and then you go signature event. So yeah, you're talking about a guy who's trying to put food on his table who doesn't get to play golf for 5 weeks. So I think what I'm reading between the tea leaves here is you're almost proposing a level between the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour that still lets some of these courses that are going to be taken out of the rotation be in the rotation for guys to kind of in track play their way back into the main track.
Yeah, exactly. And
a weird way to describe what you were saying?
Yeah, no, and,
Okay.
and you'll notice some of these signature events are starting to lose some of their signatures. The guys aren't wanting to play them. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just feel bad for some of those guys. I just look at it and it's just kind of weird. Where's all of a sudden we're already past the quarter mark. We're past almost the halfway mark, or close to it of their season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's exactly right. So let's move on. Plenty of that on tomorrow's program as well. We've got some interesting stuff. I'll do a roundabout score update when we get through this next section here, but we got some interesting stuff going on right now. The NFL draft, 257 players and 800,000 people descended to a stage in Pittsburgh, which was a hell of a scene. And we've got grades, we've got next year's mocks, we've got this, that, and the other thing. As I said, 257 players selected. None of them were named Diego Pavia. I don't know if that surprises anybody. He did sign a deal with Mack's second favorite team in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens, today.
Good for
before going to basically an open tryout for them. So good for him. He now gets his opportunity to do what Baker Mayfield did successfully, what Johnny Manziel could not do successfully, because that's kind of, I think, coming out of college where we would classify Baker Mayfield or Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
That's kind of in that same boat. Would I be way off in saying that, Mac? Because before we get into the nuts and bolts of who was drafted, he was the most notable name not drafted.
I was kind of shocked. I didn't even realize it until it was all said and done. And I was like, how does a guy almost win the Heisman Trophy? Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine if he won. Would that have changed anything? Him winning it, does that make him draftable?
I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to. You know what the problem was? And because I had the same feeling. I was sitting here on day 3 of watching the draft, and we were in that 4 to 7 round range, and I'm like, I think it was mid-6th round. I'm like, has Pavia been drafted yet? Did I miss that? And you know what it was? Is he didn't have the hype machine, Mel Kiper, behind him like Shedeur Sanders had last year. Right. And if Pavia would have won the Heisman, I guarantee you Mel Kiper would have been banging the drum for Diego Pavia. I'm happy for him. He gets a chance to prove it, but I don't think I'm far off when I say Diego Pavia is either going to be Johnny Manziel or Baker Mayfield. He'll be one of the two. There is no middle there. Am I wrong?
No, I can see that. You're right, 100%.
I'm sure you love the fact that he's playing for the Ravens now. All right, let's talk about the actual.
Here's the thing. It's like, but that cracks me up. It's like, you know, good luck to have this guy called what's his name, Lamar MVP. Is he really going to play? I mean, good luck.
Good luck. All right, let's get into the actual players that were drafted. Mack, one word reaction to the draft and or this draft class.
Surprising. That's my word. The draft was surprising in a lot of different ways. Just a lot of surprises for me.
All right, I think that's fair. For me, it was deep. It was cool to see going, and we know this, and this was hilarious that they posted this stat, because when I read it and I sat there and processed it, I was like, why did they even put that up? Well, because some dumbass is going to take it and run with it. But, 63% of the players on NFL rosters last year were from rounds 4 to 7 in the draft. And I was like, why are we putting that stat up? No shit. Because most of the draft is rounds 4 through 7. But the deepness of this draft, I thought, was really cool. I thought it made for some interesting things happening early on in the draft. We saw some high-quality players get drafted all the way into the midst of the third day, which it's easy to go, oh, I knew George Kittle was going to be a superstar the moment I saw him in Iowa. Well, it's easy to say now, but if we go back to draft grades and draft reports, George Kittle wasn't that high on anybody's list. And I think that was what was cool here is we saw some really big name players that were significant players in college still there and still getting drafted. I think this is one of the deeper drafts we've had in a long time. Now, obviously, with that comes steals, it comes reaches, it comes bad picks, it comes everything you want to go. So I'm going to ask you, who do you think was the biggest reach in the draft? And usually we're going to quantify this to first or second round only. I think this year should just be first round.
Well, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's a couple of reasons why. They had the greatest introduction of a draft pick ever. Like, yeah, I mean, you wanted to, I don't usually have goosebumps for the draft. Watching that, I was like, where's my terrible towel? I'm hooked. I am in. And then to kind
of know, this was before Brett Michaels.
Yeah, exactly. And then to kind of know the story that was going on at the time. We obviously didn't know at the time the story that was going on, like when that music was being played, what the Pittsburgh Steelers were actually doing or not doing, right? And then, all of a sudden, they make this announcement, and it's like, you can hear the air go out of the balloon. Everyone's like, what the hell just happened?
How did the air go out of the balloon again?
Or maybe that was me crying. I'm like, then my son calls me. Oh, Dad, they get the guy from ASU. No, this is not how it's supposed to work. And I feel bad. You know what? He may go on and have a great career, but seriously, I'm not joking. The Pittsburgh Steelers got caught with their pants down. They really, truly did. There is no, you cannot tell me that they're going, okay, we're going after Lemon, and, in case it doesn't happen, even though we have him on the phone, this is going to be our next pick. No, that
Max
to me, that's a reach.
Max was not a backup plan for them, though.
No, he was not a backup plan. No,
they wanted him in the building. I believe that 100%. Did they want him right there? No. And for those that don't know, the situation that Mack is referring to, when Mackay Lemon is literally on the phone with the Steelers being told that he's going to be drafted by the Steelers, somebody goes, why is Philadelphia calling you? and Philadelphia took him while he was on the phone getting told he was going to be drafted by the Steelers. It was a wild thing that we didn't really know what was going on in its entirety until the next day there. And, you know, the funny thing is now, Mac, is because we know the situation, and I've going to bring up the Steelers here in just a second as well, but we know the situation with Pittsburgh was the hell's happening at quarterback. Well, today we got some news on that the seldom used unrestricted free agent tender was placed on Aaron Rodgers. What does that mean? It means he can accept a 10% raise on last season, would pay him about $15 million. The other interesting part to this is he can only sign with Pittsburgh after camp starts. And if he signs with anybody else after camp starts, then there's compensatory picks that goes to whoever signs him. So obviously that played a big deal in Pittsburgh's draft. But yeah, that whole situation you were just describing was pretty friggin' weird.
I felt like Coach Penn. That's who I felt like. You know who I'm referring to? Coach Penn, Dennis Leary, his character on draft day. That's how I felt like I was in draft day. Part 2.
My biggest reach, it goes without saying, and it's a move I love, and it's a move I hated, and I talked about this a lot on Friday. But when I'm sitting here looking through everything, it's Ty Simpson, and it's not because the Rams had an eye on their future and decided to take what they knew was the best option there as far as a quarterback went. It's the fact that they ignored their window of win now. Devontae Adams is not a spring chicken. Puka Nacua has proven himself to be a little bit of maybe a wild card for keeping him in line and focused on stuff. He's had obviously some questionable situations in the offseason here. You've got Matthew Stafford, okay? We don't have spring chickens in some of the key skill positions for the Rams, and that's where I'm looking at 13 like, okay, fine. And I bet on Ty Simpson to be drafted 27th, 28th, or 29th because I thought somebody was going to trade back into the first round to draft him late in the first round. For the Rams to draft him, I give them credit. I am terrified as an NFC West fan of him getting to learn under Sean McVay for a couple of years and Matthew Stafford. But they needed to draft a help me win now guy and preferably a wide receiver, and there were plenty of good ones still there at that point. You still could have got Ty Simpson. The reach for him at 13, what that costs you from a contract standpoint, what it sets up for Stetson Bennett, and most people are like, who the hell cares what Stetson Bennett says? But they were pretty high on Stetson Bennett, obviously not super high. That's why they got Simpson. But I wonder if there is a little bit of a rift, even though they're playing it off perfectly, between the dynamic with Stafford, McVay, and Les Snead there. Because Les Snead, very close to the family, helped advise Ty Simpson whether he should go pro or not. Like, the whole thing is weird, and you still could have got him and helped your football team now. And I feel like that's where they missed.
I 100% agree. Like, this is a team that, again, it's a Super Bowl or not because that Stafford window is closing. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And to not go and get help, like you said, for your team this year. I mean, again, you can't knock the pick. You might have your franchise quarterback for the future, but that's not what they're playing for right now. Like you said, they're playing to win a Super Bowl this next season. That pick does not help you win the Super Bowl next season, in no case whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. Not one bit whatsoever. Let's look at day 2, because you can usually find some diamonds in the rough in day 2. Was there a day 2 pick that you really loved, and who was it, and why?
I like the Dolphins' pick of Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, he was. I got to see him play last year. I think without a doubt, probably one of the top linebackers in the country. What a great pickup for a Dolphins team that needs the help on that football. Like I said, without a doubt, he was, except for the guys down in Miami, probably had the best defensive season of anybody last year.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's just the story with him and his wife, who's active duty in the military now, and like I think there was just a lot of people in general rooting for Jacob Rodriguez, a good dude, a hell of a football player. Miami needs all the pieces that they can get. They got Caden Proctor, Jacob Rodriguez. Those are two what seemingly are high character guys who are very effective football players, and I think Mac, like I know we've got a couple more things in the draft, but I think you'd agree with this, like. When you look at, David Bailey, obviously to the Jets was the big prize off of the Texas Tech defense, and I think a home run hit for the Jets. I love David Bailey. I think he's going to be a hell of a pro. But it's funny because everybody's a draft expert, even though we've never seen these guys play on an NFL field. That's why we get grades and all this nonsense. But like one of the things that I love in the draft the most, and Rodriguez, I'm glad you brought him up there because I do think he was a hell of a steal where the Dolphins got him. But like it's the other guys on defenses or offenses that are really, really good. And I'm kind of segueing where I'm going to go with our next little section here. But like the Niners took Romello Height. And I'm not saying this because he's a Niner now. It's highlighting a lot of these type of guys like Jacob Rodriguez. Romello Height was a very effective edge rusher for Texas Tech. The reason you didn't hear a whole lot about Romello Height was because the guy opposite him on the other edge was David Bailey. And I think that's what's fun to me still about the draft is like, you can talk about Ruben Bain, and we're going to talk about Ruben Bain because I think that's bad news for a lot of people. But it's the other players that were on that Miami defense that are also really good. And you forget about them because they're not the headline, the highlight, the top tier player. Perfect example here. My day two steal, your Steelers, Jeremy Bernard. I love Jeremy Bernard. I think Jeremy Bernard is already a pros pro type of wide receiver. I think it's exciting to think about Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback with a guy as talented as Jeremy Bernard and DK Metcalf and some of the things that you can do, lining them up same side, oppo side, and everything else. But like, he's a dude that led Alabama in receptions, and shout out to our guys Herb and Raj because they'll back me on this. For the past 2 seasons, he lined up in the slot, he lined up out wide. He's kind of got a little Deebo Samuel-ish to him. And he's a guy that just seems like he's all business. He is a guy that, to me, defines what you want in a Steelers player. And I think the fact that they were able to get him in the middle of the second round on day 2 there, I think he's going to be one of the absolute steals of this draft. I kind of want to let him go to see how long it takes him to figure it out.
No, sorry.
That's twice in one night, by the way. The kangaroo is calling.
I know. I really hope so. It's a definite need for the Steelers. They need receiver help. Everything that I've seen and read and kind of watched, it seems like he's going to be a pretty good fit in there. So, I was happy with that pick.
All right, I'll let you take a swig there. Who won the draft?
Oh.
Who's your big winner of the draft? I'm going to say something I didn't think I'd ever say publicly. I think the Jets were one of the massive winners of the draft. The 5 guys that they got with their first 5 picks. And I know everybody's going to go, yeah, Cade Klubnik sucks. I've got some other thoughts on him in a second. But you go David Bailey, Kenyon Sadiq, and Omar Cooper just in the first round. That's already a really good draft. And we know great players drafted by the Jets. It doesn't always work out that way. I'm not even sure what animal that is because it's super small. Kangaroo. Did Travis Bazana homer tonight for Cleveland? If you get what I'm saying there. But I'm looking at this, and it's like you got Bailey, Sadiq, and Cooper in the first round. D'Angelo Pons, I think a fantastic pick by them in the second round. And Darrell Jackson Jr., also a guy that I think can come in kind of early for them and make an impact. They took a stab on Cade Klubnik. Say what you want. He had a horrible year, good year. Depends on who you're talking to. Depends on who hates Clemson or who doesn't. I think grabbing him there, not a bad pick. We know that they're probably going to be grabbing Dante Moore or Arch Manning in next year's draft, and we heard today that they're considering bringing in Russell Wilson to be the backup there. Whatever. I think when you look at everybody they got, and Inez Cooper and VJ Payne, their 6th and 7th round draft picks, those are guys I think have a chance to be decent pros. I think if you're a Jets fan, as much as you can be excited about a draft, because we know Sauce Gardner was another draft pick in recent years, and he doesn't even play for the damn Jets anymore. So I think what they have on the table is interesting. It's fun to kind of conceptualize. I'm also, and I said this Friday, terrified for Kenyon Sadiq because I think he could have a Kyle Pitts NFL career arc because absolute stud freak athlete in college, great things he did in college, and then he ends up in an NFL organization that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. That's the only, I'm like, and the same thing with Omar Cooper Jr. too. Like, two guys that were great college players that I think could be great NFL players, but they went to the Jets. But I'm actually hopeful on this group for the Jets. I'm gonna give them props. Fix that damn turf, you'd have a lot better teams in New York.
joke.
I mean, what do I need to know about that? Who was the winner of the draft for you?
For me, I really like what Tampa Bay did. First off, you just start with their first pick, Ruben Bain. I think he's going to be an animal. I mean, there's just no joke. I just think he's going to be amazing. But the way they built their draft, and they got Trotter from Missouri, again, another linebacker. Again, we know how good this Tampa Bay defense can be. They went and got a guy called Ted Hurst. I'm not going to tell you I know a lot about him, but I kind of was reading up on him. He had 71 receptions this last year and over 1,000 yards. I don't care where you play. That's a lot of receptions. I mean, they've got it. They have good receivers. Yeah, they lost one of their veterans in Evans, but listen, they still have a closet full of really good receivers. You bring in another young guy like that, they'll be all right. And then they got Kalante Scott from Miami. I mean, anybody who played on that Miami defense, is good, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so again, another good pick. They got a defensive tackle from Clemson. I love the stats. He's 6'5", 313. He ran a 4.85 40-yard dash. I mean, I love that. I love big guys that can move,
I'm nowhere close to 315, but I think I couldn't even run a 8.85 40 at this point.
But it's what I'm saying is again, maybe a project, but still. And then they got a guard from Notre Dame, and then they got Bauer Sharp from LSU. He's a tight end. I love the quarterbacks people who were quarterbacks and go to those receiver and tight end spots. They have knowledge of the game that and see things that other players don't. You could use them in a wildcat. You could use them, in a push situation. I just think they hit all of their needs, and I think they did a really, really good job. You look at the grades they got, mostly high B's, low A's. I like what Tampa Bay did, kind of quietly. I thought they had a really good class.
Yeah, dude, the Ruben Bain, when he just walked up, grabbed the hat, didn't pose by the mirror, just grabbed his hat, walked out on stage. That's the kind of all business Ruben Bain is. I'm shocked that Dallas didn't grab him. I don't think I'd complain if I was a Cowboy fan about how they went about the start of their draft, but excuse me. That was random. I was really shocked that Dallas didn't take him, but yeah. And he's going to have a new head coach next year, too, which will help if he can just tread the waters in his first year. We got our first final tonight. We will be shipping back up to Philadelphia as the Sixers beat the Celtics 113-97, outscoring Boston 28-11 in the fourth quarter. George was 16, Embiid 33, Maxey with 25, VJ Edgecombe added 10 for the Sixers. So we're going to a game 6 on, I don't have the day in front of me. I think it's
a week
Saturday.
From tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 weeks from next Wednesday. Let's go into some early, and it is early, but now that we know teams and placements and most of the free agency is done, give me whether it's offensive or defensive, give me a call on a rookie of the year.
How about Casey Concepcion?
Love that
dude. I mean, and he was the one I thought in that spot when Lemon got picked. I really thought that was going to be maybe the spot that the Steelers went. But they didn't. But I think that would be good. I like Skylar Bell too. I think I think he's in a good spot with Buffalo. But I think either one of those guys could be your offensive rookie of the year.
I've been very good at almost nailing, and I know it's like, oh, so you've been good at not winning your bet. I get it. But I've been very good like the last couple years. You guys can attest to this of getting the defensive rookie of the year pretty nailed in. And I'm not going off the top of the board. Usually, like Nick Eamon last year was not a guy that was at the top of anybody's board for defensive rookie of the year. And he was right there at the end. If he would have played most of the season, I think he still wins it. So I'm pretty sure by the time we do our NFL preview, I'm going to have the right guy pegged for defensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year, I am not shying from anywhere even step 2 on the board, because I think the favorite, Jeremiah Love, is the favorite for a reason. And everybody's going to go, well, he plays for the freaking Cardinals. I understand that, but I don't think enough people, because there's still enough people poorly grading the pick. I saw somebody give the Cardinals pick of Jeremiah Love a C+, and I was like, did you watch Jeremiah Love play football? Like, out of default, that should be a B, and because the Cardinals were smart enough to do it, I'd go to B+ range. I think Jeremiah Love, because of what he does not only as a running back, but out of the backfield, and with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison, and I know they have quarterback questions there. It could be Carson Beck for all we know. But, like, Jeremiah Love is a freaking weapon, and I think, and I hope that he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. For all the people that are just shitting on the Cardinals for picking him, shitting on him in general, like, this dude is a weapon, man. And I actually will probably, it's making me a lot of dry heave. I will probably watch more Cardinal games next year because of Jeremiah Love than I have in the last handful of years. Worst pick of the draft. Worst draft. What was it?
I went with the entire Jacksonville Jaguars draft.
It's not unfair.
So here's my thing. You don't have a first round pick. Okay, so you think, okay, you've got to come out and I got to make my first pick in the second round good, and you take a tight end, which is never going to make anybody happy. The only pick
George Kittles don't grow on trees, my friend.
No, I like the Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon, the offensive lineman they got in the third round. I'm not going to completely bash your draft. I thought that was a pretty good pick in the third round. I like that, and even Jalen Husky from Maryland, defensive back. I don't. Their third round, that part was good, but the rest of then they take the fifth round. They pick another tight end. Nothing that they did. If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I'm looking at this draft and I'm going, what in this draft is going to help us get better? Mm-hmm. And I don't. And no offense, I mean, I think you've got some good depth pieces here, but I don't know that they did anything to make them a better football team.
Yeah, it was funny because it was like a record. I don't know if it was the record. I think it was either the record or second. But the amount of teams going into day 2 of the draft, the second round, who had not made a pick in the first round, amongst all the trade chaos that we said and had kind of indicated for a couple weeks leading in, there was also a lot of teams that didn't even draft in the first round. Jacksonville was one of them, and you know again, I agree with you there. Like it wasn't, and those guys could all end up being studs. It could be the hit of all drafts, right. But we don't know that, and it didn't seem like, and it was kind of like what I was talking about with the Rams. And I have 2 worsts of the draft, if you will. Number 1, I thought the Rams draft was pretty bad. Mm-hmm. Because when I go through the Rams draft, CJ Daniels, who they got in the 6th round from Miami, wide receiver, I like him. I think he's got a chance to be a kind of a Khalil Shakir kind of pro if he hits. And Tim Keenan, the monster road-moving defensive tackle from Alabama, I was not happy to see them get him. But I'm looking at their second-round pick after the reach on Ty Simpson, Max Clare, a tight end who transferred to Ohio State and was just kind of lost in the mist of all their offensive talent. Keegan Tross, their offensive tackle from Missouri. not a bad player, but like those are 3 picks from a team that is the Super Bowl favorite in a Super Bowl that's going to be played in their stadium that are like, that doesn't help you next year. Like, what are you doing? And nobody will question Les Snead, and there's a lot of great free agents still left available, and rosters will get finalized. Our next, momentous thing is the NFL schedule release. Now Matt Boldy has a goal that actually counted. That's my biggest, loser of the draft, and worst part of the draft. I'll say that. The way I was going to say that first was very personal to a level I didn't want to go to. The biggest loss of the draft every year is the dipshits, and I get it, some of these guys, it's their job. But then there's other guys that just do this for click bullshit. You cannot put a grade on any single one of these damn drafts. It is the dumbest thing that we do. You know what we do? We go, hey, tonight on Friday night, and the NFL, you could sell this, because the NFL likes to sell everything. It is April 28th of 2026. On a Friday night, the Friday after the draft, we turn it into a party, and we go, let's grade the 2026 draft. Put it on Netflix. Put it on Amazon Prime. I don't give a shit where you put it, but there's another way for you to make money, because that's the accurate time to actually figure out how to grade a draft, people. You got to see these guys get on the damn field, and I still don't understand why that's mind-blowing to me.
I know. I think you said something in the group text. It was a picture of what they thought this year's draft was going to be like about this time last year. Because it had Manning number 1. That was eye-opening, because you go down that list. I wish I had it in front of me. And none of these, half these guys weren't even mentioned in there. I think a better practice would be, to go back and say, let's take a look at the 20. Let's go back 4 years. Let's take a look at the 22 draft, and let's grade the 22 draft. Who made, that's, to me, that's more fun to see. Okay, who got that diamond in the rough? Who did pan out? Like that to me is more beneficial, because, like you said, you talk about Love and the Cardinals. Like, people are grading the pick. It's not him. You're grading him, but you're grading like the organization. Like, it's kind of funny, because if he goes like where everybody thought, say everyone thought he was going to go to Kansas City, all of a sudden that his grade becomes what? An A plus, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of a C. So but
yeah, part of that is the timing of the pick, and I do agree with that a little bit, but I do more agree with, if the Chiefs take Jeremiah Love, even if they traded up to 7, oh my God, Kansas City just got Jeremiah Love.
Right. It's completely, so yeah, so it's just, the way, more of the situation than anything else.
Raj, I'm telling you, every year we can turn the schedule release into a 3-hour extravaganza. You can grade the draft from 3 years prior to that year's schedule release. So in a month, when we drop the schedule, we could add an hour and a half early to grade every team from the 2023 draft. And then we can announce the 2026 schedule. Come on.
That'll be good.
Raj, just send the check in the mail. We won't even charge you that much for that. I mean, you're going to sell it anyway. So let's go into the NBA playoffs. Again, first update that we had tonight, the Celtics and Sixers will go on to a Game 6. Let's go back to what we saw last night, though, Mac, because we've got some really, really, really interesting things happening right now, including in the Detroit-Orlando series. And I will say this, I will give the Magic 1,000% credit, but it was never about the Magic. It was about Jamal Mosley. Now, I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done. I don't know if anything is going to change after this playoff run is over. But this Magic team is clearly, and Mac, we talk about this all the time, the NBA, more than any postseason in any sport, is about matchups in the postseason. And this Orlando team has proven it in a 3-1 series lead to be a horrible matchup for this Pistons team.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and we kind of, it was one of those things, everybody talked at the beginning of the year that the Magic could be something special. We did see it during the year. In fact, even at the end of the year, the very end of the year, they did not play well. Then all of a sudden, something happened in that game against Charlotte. They clicked. And it's been since that game in Charlotte that this team has looked like a completely different team. And you're right. Like you said, more than any other sport, especially basketball, it's about matchups. And, it's very interesting. I mean, we could end up in the East, as much as we thought there was a little bit of stability, we could end up with the top three seeds all being eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, and it's mind blowing, and there's a lot of things, and one of the things that we talked about, and I know we did a short video for it. We talked about it on the show. We absolutely hammered the Rockets for not going out and getting a ball handler or a distributor at the trade deadline. The other team that we talked about and we said I would have liked to have seen them do this was Detroit, getting more three-point shooting. That's
Right.
the first problem. The second problem is Jalen Duren has been a complete no-show for this entire friggin' series. He's not even averaging a double-double at 10 and 10 in this series. That's a big problem for the Pistons.
Yeah, again, we talked about the NBA and the step up, but your players have to step up, and they're just not. I mean, this regular season is one thing, and we've said this before too. Playoff basketball, playoff hockey, it's a little bit different, and the Pistons have not figured it out yet. This is, as much as they figured it out last year. What a great run they had last year. They have not figured it out at all in any of these games so far this year.
Last night, the Thunder dispatched the Suns in 4, 131-122. They do not cover the spread. Thanks for that, a-holes. The last time the Thunder beat the Suns in the postseason, this is what the Thunder looked like.
Oh, some good players.
How about
right
that?
there.
Little TC, Hersey Hawkins, the glove, Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf. That was the last time that the Thunder eliminated the Suns in the postseason. But
That's crazy.
None of us are shocked by this, so we're not going to say it. What I am going to say is this, and I've kind of sat in a certain spot on this argument for the last handful of years. I've watched it play out. You guys, we talk about it all the time. I am a basketball junkie at both levels. I am 1,000% out on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I love this team. I love the makeup of it. I love their big three. I more so even love their role players. I love Sam Presti. I love Mark Daigneault. I love everything that they're doing, and everything that they're building is being done the right friggin' way. But the foul baiting, I cannot handle anymore with this team. They are not watchable for me. And it's gotten me to a point where I wish more organizations were built and run the way that the Thunder are. I am now hate watching them going forward. Like, I just can't do it. And it's not just SGA. It's friggin' everybody on this team. McCann had a dive he took the other night in their game, like he was recording another one of the stupid-ass TikTok videos. Like, I am out on this Thunder team and the foul baiting. And here's the thing. Remember this. Like, I didn't get this. It took me a long time to really understand this, Mac. I couldn't figure out, why would anybody hate the Warriors on their run?
Right.
Green, Curry, Thompson, they were all homegrown. Like, they're good dudes. Draymond obviously had an edge, but Clay and Steph, just kind of fun-loving guys. Why does everybody hate this team? Well, Steph made the NBA change a rule because there were times, some egregious, some not egregious, that he would get a lot of and-ones or three-shot fouls. And we made changes to sticking your legs out and whatever. I'm fascinated to see if anything comes of this because they are not watchable, dude. And it never made sense to me why everybody hated the Warriors so much when they were on their run. Now I get it, because the 3-point sticking your legs out is OKC and their foul baiting, dude. And it's they are hard for me to turn on and watch, and I'm the basketball crackhead on the show.
I mean, unfortunately, we always joke about it, but we look at our teams through their colored glasses, and we don't always see it, the way other people see it, and that's yeah. I mean, each team has their thing. Each team does something that irritates the hell out of the opponents and whatnot. But it's very interesting you say that. So I'm sure we'll probably end up seeing them in the final now.
It probably just to piss me off even more. But like it's all matchups, and we know. And I'm going to kind of use these two series up against each other. The one we were just talking about that's going back to desperation for Detroit, and then the Thunder dispatching the Suns as quickly as they did. It's all about matchups. And the matchup for the Suns with the Thunder was not a good one. And that was even with Jalen Williams not on the floor, fully healthy, and not on the floor, period, to end the series for the Thunder. It's funny because the Pistons have looked great all year, and we're seeing some weird stuff. There has been only number 1 seed who has fallen down 3-1 to an 8 seed that's ever come back down from 3-1 to the 8. Do you remember who it was? So we've seen this before where 8 seeds have gotten out ahead of 1s, but in a 3-1 specific, it's only happened one time, I think, since 2000.
I don't remember.
It was Detroit in 2003. The team that they came back to beat down 3-1. It's the Orlando Magic. Take that for however you want to. The final game last night.
I like that.
Nuggets beat the Timberwolves and covered Oklahoma City. See, it can be done because they had a fat spread because, unfortunately, Dante DiVincenzo blew his Achilles. By the way, in the NBA the last 2 years, if you wear the number 0, it's not a good thing. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Dante DiVincenzo. Tyrese Maxey was able to continue playing tonight. The 0 number over the last couple of years has been a bad one, so if you're wearing 0, maybe it's time for a number change. But no Anthony Edwards also last night. And the Timberwolves, I will say this, hung around in this game way longer than I expected them to. But the Nuggets get the 12-point victory last night, 27, 12, and 16 for Nikola Jokic, 27, 9, and 6 from Julius Randle, who continues to play well. But, Mac, this series now is kind of an unknown. It sounds like, barring a miracle, the series will finish with no Anthony Edwards, no Dante DiVincenzo, and maybe no Aaron Gordon because of a calf strain he's still dealing with. How do you handicap this going forward now at 3-2, going back to Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to think that the advantage goes squarely back to Denver, even with Gordon not being able to play. But maybe that's exactly what Minnesota wants. I mean, it's one of those things. I think they could possibly get by this series. I mean, they could win another game, obviously, and probably advance. I think where we would see those injuries finally catch up would be in that next round when they wouldn't have them. So, could they still win this one? Yeah, I mean, we've seen teams do that. But I think their run is going to be done after this round. Just you can't lose your two of your better players like that.
No, and it's kind of interesting, and I can't remember who it was on SportsCenter last night. I hate this. I apologize. But it was they were literally talking about it, and it's like, hey, we know that, it's more than likely no Anthony Edwards. We know it's no Dante DiVincenzo. We know the situation with Aaron Gordon here. So their title hopes, Minnesota's obviously pretty crushed there. But in the short term, these two teams do not like each other. There's a lot of crossover between both organizations. So I'm kind of interested because I can see the series ending with their next game in Minnesota, and Minnesota scratches the one at home.
Right.
But if it goes back to Ball Arena, it's Nuggets in 7, and it sucks for the short term. What's going on tonight? 18-point lead for the Knicks, late third over the Hawks, so that'll force that series more than likely back to Atlanta in a do or die for the Hawks. Portland down 16-6 early in that one in San Antonio. Julian Champagne for the Spurs has 8 points already. Let's switch over to the hockey. Oh, actually, I wanted to ask you this before we switch to hockey here.
Yeah.
Biggest unanswered question you have so far. We have some teams that have already advanced. We have everybody else that's kind of on the brink now. What's the biggest unanswered question from the NBA playoffs that you have so far?
I guess
that was perfectly timed.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. I mean, I put down have the Pistons lost their magic. You know, they all year long. I see what I did there. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, this is a team. You know, we from last year. We talked about, what a great run they made in the playoffs. Man, I can't wait to see them next year. You know, what are they going to do in the grind of the NBA season? Well, what did they do? They got the number 1 seed, put themselves in a really, really good position, and then all of a sudden, boom, this, like we talked about, this matchup isn't the best for them. But, you know, can they find and get their way around it? Because if they do, you know, they probably have an easier road to get to the conference finals. So just kind of, to me, I'm just really surprised at what the Pistons haven't done so far in this series.
Yeah, I would 1,000% agree with you there. Mine is, what the hell is actually happening in Houston? Because this whole thing's weird. You know, they're asking guys, hey, how's Kevin feeling today? Speaking of Kevin Durant, and to be honest with you, I don't really know. He's on the bench. Ime Udoka calls out his team. You know, hey, you've been to the playoffs before. I think Udoka is going to be out the second they're done. And this Durant dynamic is pretty freaking interesting. I want to know what the hell is actually happening in Houston, because now that series back tomorrow night in Los Angeles for game number 5 with the Lakers up 3-1. Sounds like Austin Reeves is closer to a go than he has been. Luka's still out, but the Lakers obviously 1,000% want to knock this one off and close it out at home tomorrow night. I think I am going to lean that way with the over tomorrow night. But that's my question, is like, what is actually happening in Houston? And I know everything that they planned for went sideways when Fred VanVleet unfortunately got hurt, and that wasn't in their control. But it's like, what is going on? Like, the whole thing there is just weird.
Yeah, you know, again, they're making the damn Lakers look like world freaking champions, and it's pissing me off a little bit. It's like, good. I mean, I know they're good, but they're not that darn good, are they? I mean, they showed a little bit. Man,
there's something about them. If all of their veterans show up and play like veterans, the Marcus Smarts and everybody else, yeah, they're mysterious, which is good in LA, I guess.
I guess I don't know. I just can't take another finals with LeBron. I just can't do it.
I don't think we're gonna get to that kind of extreme. I think it's still.
No, you do think you do. Don't tell me you don't. You said it.
I didn't say they were going to the finals. I picked Denver to go to the finals, and
I know, but it's right there, and Denver might not even be in there.
Denver will be there. I think the Lakers give OKC a run for their money. I really do. Call me crazy. It's fine. I understand it sounds crazy. I wanted to get this out before we get into the NHL here. I don't know why I didn't say this earlier, Cody, but you don't have to worry about Russ on the Giants anymore. He's a free agent. Let him just move his dangerous mobile to the other side of MetLife Stadium. It's fine. You're done with his ass. All right, Carolina has swept Ottawa, as we know. Colorado swept the Kings last night. What a freaking game last night. And we're going to go in reverse order because of this. It was ironic. We posted a video right before the show today about how great the Edmonton-Anaheim game 4 was in Anaheim the other night. But, you know, I was going to ask you this earlier. Let's start with this. We can put computer chips in footballs. We can put them in tennis balls or on tennis lines. I don't really care where they are. We have all the technology in the world. And first of all, this is a goal. If you're not smart enough to just do the eyeball test and put a hockey puck finished right there, it's past the damn line. I don't think anybody has a problem with this being a goal, Mac, but why don't we have chips in hockey pucks? And how do you call this on the ice in the heat of the action a good goal is my problem with it, not that it was a goal.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, we know, like, the referee was out of position. That was the first thing. But I don't know if they still have them. I don't think many of them do, but I always thought the greatest job in any professional sport, and again, back in the day when I used to go watch the Hartford Whalers in the mall, they used to have goal judges. Do you remember that? Those were the guys who would put the light on.
Yeah,
and I don't think
they'd sit in a little bird
behind.
cage.
Yeah, right behind, and they would be able to look down on the goal line, and when there was a goal, they'd light the lamp, right? Why don't we? Where did those guys go? I'm like, maybe we need to bring them back. But you're right.
The NHL had to do a lot of cost cutting for a while. So.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know about a chip in the puck. That is a little above my pay grade. But you would think they would be able to have something where they can see. We've got cameras everywhere. I mean, some genius should be able to figure out how to put a camera, screw it underneath the ice or something. I don't know, so that we can see. How about that? See,
that's not a bad idea,
right? I mean, and just I don't know. I mean,
you could pre-underwire the goal line, and if the puck crosses the goal line, it takes the job of old Wilbur, who used to sit in the birdcage that you were talking about, turning on the lamp. It just automatically turns on the lamp. Do we have to run every friggin' sport on this show?
I'll tell you, it's incredible what we have to do.
I now do realize that me saying that, because I was calling it one of the greatest hockey games I've seen. Last night in Utah, we got another one of those. It was kind of ironic. I wish I would have posted the video before that game, because that game was just as good. Vegas jumps out early to the big lead. Utah comes all the way friggin' back, and Vegas ends up getting the game winner. And of all friggin' guys, and you know this, you have pitcher outs, TJ's, what's TJ's go-to? Oh, kickers in football.
Yeah.
I think we've discovered what my go-to is. In the NHL playoffs, it's betting a game early in the third period for who's going to score the OT game winner, and assuming the game's going to go to overtime. Shea Theodore was not one of the guys I was thinking of last night, but Old Reliable gets the job done for the Knights. That series has been incredible as well.
I watched enough of that Utah team in their prior position and
their previous
Vermelka,
life.
Yeah, and Vermelka's, he's just all over the place. But like, dude, I know you didn't have your hockey stick. You can still play goalie without your freaking hockey stick. He's down trying to grab his hockey stick, and the puck is in the middle of the ice. Like,
as TJ has called him, he is the crease traveler.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I'm over that.
So we've got, it's kind of interesting because obviously here in any number of minutes here, we're waiting because of the end of the Buffalo-Boston game, which is not going to end because it looks like that's going to overtime. But Edmonton and Anaheim, every bit looked like it should have been tied and a best of three. Well, Utah and Vegas have given us the best of three. And this Vegas team, man, right? They've got something, because last night, I think Vegas pre-Tortorella, last night's game they end up losing. I think what I've seen from Vegas since Torts has been on the bench was kind of evident, especially late in that game last night, in how they won the game. And I think that's what still makes Vegas deadly. But I also I gotta give it to the baby Coyotes, because we watched this being built, and it's kind of cool to see it right now, as much as I hate it.
I know that. I was really pulling for Utah last night. I'm not gonna lie. I have a huge dislike for Vegas and their hockey team.
But why?
Jeez. But yeah, I mean, you could just see. I mean, it's just a little bit of that playoff experience makes all the difference in the world, and I think we saw that last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last night we also saw the Penguins, the old Penguins, do what the old Kings could not do, and kept moving the series along. They get the win at home last night, 3-2. That series will be going back to Philadelphia for game number 6, which is on Wednesday night.
Somebody made Sid
what?
mad.
Yeah, it is Wednesday night. I don't know why that threw me off for a loop there, but that'll be the middle game tomorrow from Philly. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think you kind of like didn't steal my thunder, but we're on the same wavelength there. This Pittsburgh team's starting to look a little pissed off, and I don't know if that's good for the youngish Flyers.
No, I mean it's not. It's and the Flyers have done a really good job so far, kind of controlling it. But I think it sounds silly, but I think that the first 10 minutes of that game is crucial on Wednesday night for Pittsburgh. I really, really do. I think that they can come out and establish and get a lead in that game. I think it's going to make all the difference in the world.
Boston and Buffalo officially headed to overtime. Minnesota up 2-1 on Dallas. That's just started the third period there. Yet to drop a puck on ice in Edmonton as the Oilers look to kind of keep their season alive. Let's switch into some baseball real quick, Mac. And of course, we can't start any baseball without getting to a new, fresh, slamming, banging, no cap, for real, whatever we want to call it, edition of the rotation. Where does MLB's rotation take us this week?
We're going to take a look at the entire Major League Baseball and who are our top 5. So our first real big top 5 of this week, we're going to start at number 5, and it's the pitching of the Pinstripes and the New York Yankees. It's the pitching of the Yankees that puts them in our number 5 spot. At number 4, with a 10-3 road record, that's right, 10-3, the Cincinnati Reds. I like this Reds team. I think they're going to do something special this year. At number 3, the best bullpen in baseball, the best announcers in baseball. They can't lose in extra innings. At number 3, I got the San Diego Padres. At number 2, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. We don't need to say anything more. We know they're there. However, there is a team that I think is better than the Dodgers. No, it's not the Padres, and it's the Atlanta Braves. Ladies and gentlemen, the Braves, right there, right behind you, that hat, they could be this year's world champs.
And that's the thing, is the Braves are only going to get reinforcements here as they go forward. Scores around the league of note tonight. Milwaukee beating the absolute crap out of Arizona, 13-2 in the top of the 7th. Seattle up 5-1 on the Twins. White Sox up 5-2 on the Halos. Yanks up 2-0 in Texas on the Rangers. Cubs and Padres early. Royals and Nomads early in Coors Field of California. So what was your best of last weekend on the diamond there, Vegas Mac?
I'll take it from a team perspective first. I've got Tampa Bay and their sweep over Minnesota. The Tampa Bay Rays are back, baby, in full force. Watch out, baseball. As far as my individual, I like Demario Vargas of the D-backs. Kind of a nice little story. 3 hits, including a home run, bases loaded triple, had a game with 4 RBIs, a 20-game hitting streak. I like this I like this young guy.
Did you just drop an Ildemaro Vargas reference on the show?
I did. How about that?
That was not on my bingo card for the beginning of the season one bit whatsoever.
No.
New York 90, Atlanta 72, getting ready to start the 4th there. San Antonio up 13 late first on Portland, Dallas, and Minnesota still 2-1. My best of the weekend was the Dodgers, and I think I finally figured it out this weekend. I figured out how I can watch the Dodgers and assess how truly great they are. And I'm not even being a smartass here. I watched them play the Cubs this weekend. The Cubs, who were on a little bit of a roll. Cubs took game 1 in Los Angeles, and then the Dodgers, they put 18-4 on that ass over the next 2 days and pounded the Cubs there. And I think that's it for me. I think I need to only watch the Dodgers during the regular season when they're playing a team that I think is equally or at least able to be competitive with them. So therefore, I will not be watching the Dodgers for the rest of the series against Miami, a series against St. Louis, or a series against Houston. But after that, they play Atlanta. Very interested to watch them there. Then they have a 4-game series with the Giants. Not that the Giants are anywhere near. The only thing the Giants and Dodgers have in common is they play in the same damn state right now. But it's Giants-Dodgers. Then they play the Angels, who have had their number, and then they play at San Diego. So for the Dodgers, basically from May 8th, and then they play Milwaukee too. So from May 8th to May 24th, I will watch every Dodger game as much as I can, because that is where I can go, okay, this is how I assess the team. I also told you this a couple weeks ago. I think their like internal quest this year is like, hey, let's see if we can set the record for best road team in the history of baseball. Like, because this is a team that likes to play with their food. They know what they're built for, the postseason. And I thought it was actually kind of fun to watch them this weekend against a team who is equally as competitive, or I think has the capabilities to be, and that's the Cubs. So that was my best of the weekend.
Hey, before we get to anything else, I got a couple of best for you. How about this?
Uh-oh.
We got to talk our weekly ABS challenge. 2 players in Major League Baseball still have 100% success rate in ABS challenge.
Are they both catchers?
No, I'm talking batters.
Oh, batters. Okay.
Yeah, one of them is from your Los Angeles Dodgers, Teoscar Hernandez. He's 4 for 4. The other one from your Sacramento Nomads, Nick Kurtz, for 4 for 4 also. But listen, I found an interesting stat. I want to kind of throw a different little stat out for you. I found this one. I thought it was interesting. Who do you think has the highest average bat speed in baseball?
This means I have to pander to the freaking Dell computer nerds in baseball.
Yeah, but that's a
average
fun stat.
bat speed.
Yep, highest average bat speed.
Normally, I would say Ronald Acuna, but I don't think that that's right. This is a guy who's like qualified, not a guy who's had like 2 at bats.
Oh no. 79.7 miles per hour. That's his average bat speed.
Munetaka Murakami of the Chicago White Sox.
No, the correct answer is Junior Caminero of your Tampa Bay Rays. Now,
not my Tampa Bay Rays. He went out in the 3rd inning after fouling the ball off his face tonight.
Now, let's go. Since we're going to get into the worst of the weekend, let's stick right with this. Who do you think has the slowest bat speed?
The slowest bat speed?
62.1.
Patrick Bailey.
No.
Oh, he swings hard and still can't hit. All right. No, that one I got no freaking clue.
Luis Ariz.
That actually doesn't shock me.
No.
That dude's like a cyborg, man. I just wish he could play defense. That's all. That's all. Give me your worst of the weekend in Major League Baseball.
And I mean, it just has to be the Mets. You can't get swept at home by the Rockies. I mean, without a doubt, that was...
Apparently you can, because Carlos Mendoza is still employed.
I mean, just that was shocking. But as far as an individual, Dean Kramer gave up 9 runs in just 3 1/3 innings versus Boston. And he started all the other crap, I guess. I'm blaming Dean Kramer.
Fair. Poor Dean Kramer catching strays. I didn't really have a worst, to be honest with you, from the weekend. I thought it was a decent weekend in baseball. It wasn't nothing exciting happened. I mean, there really wasn't anything. Did you have another worst from the weekend?
I did not.
Come on, you haven't said a damn word about it all night. They literally picked up the fired coaches in a bus on the back right corner that had Coaches for Hire LLC on it. The Red Sox fired Alex Cora. You've been an hour and 43 minutes, and you haven't said a damn thing. While I appreciate your restraint, tell me how it felt to read that and how you feel. You thought you were getting off of the show without addressing that?
I really was.
Well, you didn't. It's 3-1 Wild over the Stars right now.
I'm not happy. I had a question. I was going to ask you a question, and just kind of that was going to be my way of getting in. It's just like
you were going to deflect to me.
Yeah, I was.
About your team.
I was. My question was going to be very generic. It was going to be, when do you blame the GM and when do you blame the coach? Because that's what this comes down to. This is a, well, I don't like what I see on the field. I'm not getting enough out of what I see on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a lot. I mean, I won't. Well, I've listened to a lot, read a lot, but there's a couple of things that are interesting to me. I'm very protective of a lot of things, and one of the things I'm protective of, not that he needs protection, is Jason Varitek.
He needed a lot of protection. He was a catcher. You know that better than anybody.
I know. I have read multiple reports. He was their game plan, game prevention, whatever coordinator.
Basically like their game day coordinator.
Right. I've read multiple, and I'm not talking one or two. I'm talking dozens of reports and stories where the information that he was giving, and you have to know something about Jason Varitek. Jason Varitek is very meticulous. Jason Varitek is the reason when I was playing that I would keep a book on players. He kept the book on pitchers and players, and he can tell you anything you want about any player. He's that meticulous. They were not using his information. They were not using the information he was supplying to the team. They
now
were
the
using
Instagram picture makes a lot more sense to me.
Okay, so that's part of it. They were using the information from, guess where? Craig Breslow. Again, this is from multiple sources that I've read this. That was part of the problem. So what's happened in Boston? It's the one guy that wasn't fired was Andrew Bailey. Why wasn't he fired? Well, it's very obvious why he wasn't fired. He's the only one of that whole group that was hired by Craig Breslow. The Red Sox pitching hasn't been good.
What about Connolly Early's success?
No. He has had nothing to do with that. He's had a handful of starts with him. I look at Brian Bayo. You've had Brian Bayo for 3 years. He's not better. He's worse. So, and I'm just saying, if you were going to fire everybody, you should have fired everybody, is what he should have. This is my one tweet was John Henry and Sam Kennedy have killed the Red Sox. And I truly believe that. It's not a Craig Breslow thing. It's a John Henry and Sam Kennedy thing. They think they know what they're doing, and they don't. And I've said this before. John Henry, when he first got the Red Sox, he was an amazing owner. He did everything that a good owner should do. He helped renovate that stadium. He went and spent money. It didn't always work, but it was okay. It was good. And he did bring success to the Boston Red Sox. John Henry doesn't care. And you can tell, I don't care that he was around the team, this, that, and the other thing. He does not care about this team. They did not address the major things that they needed to address in the offseason. They needed a power hitter. They didn't get him. Do you think Alex Cora didn't want Alex Bregman back in that team? You know he did. Okay, you know he did. They didn't get Pete Alonso. They didn't get any power bat. They didn't. They hamstrung Alex Cora with 5 outfielders. I blame the creator of this mess, not Alex Cora. Now, does Alex Cora get some blame? Yeah, they didn't play as good, and they haven't played. He historically does not get off to a good start. With anybody who knows that about Alex Cora, he doesn't. And they did. I mean, they were all about run prevention and everything else, but you have to. You haven't gotten them a second baseman, Craig Breslow, since you've been there. And that's not a knock against Caleb Durbin or Marcel Meyer. It's just you haven't done it. Okay, you've made there's more holes on this team than I would like to believe they are. And I don't think it was Alex Cora. I don't think it was the staff. I think it was how it was created. And I don't appreciate the fact that they came out and didn't say it. They basically, and we know they had these little conversations now with Story, but basically told the players, shut up and play. Well, you know what? Why don't you shut up, Craig Breslow and Sam Kennedy? Because you didn't do your goddamn job either.
That's what I was waiting for. Grady Little, Bobby Valentine, John Farrell, Alex Cora. What do they have in common? All 4 of them were fired. 3 of the 4 of them were replaced with a World Series championship the following year.
That's not going to happen this year.
Not
will
under
tell you
Chad
that.
Tracy, I
No.
wouldn't say.
And I feel bad for JC and Cap too. I mean, like these are two guys that are in a situation where it's a no-win situation. I mean, it's they're doing their ultimate. Like the reason that they're minor league managers is to become professional managers, and they're in a situation where I think Tracy's going to get the whole year. They're not going to replace him, unless something catastrophic happens. But that team is a mess right now. The only thing that can happen at this point that could make this work, if you want to talk about it, is the players are going to rally together. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to get players you're going to get a divide, is what you're going to get. You're going to get players that are going to say, listen, let's just kind of basically give Sam Kennedy and Henry and Breslow the finger and say, we're going to just do it in spite of you.
Mm-hmm.
Or here's the thing. They're not going to be around. That's going to be the thing. Trevor Story's not going to finish the year with the Boston Red Sox. I guarantee that. I don't know who else falls in his camp, but you have a true divide among the Boston Red Sox right now. And there's no doubt about that. This whole thing was handled the wrong way from start to finish. And then the whole I know now you got me going. See, I can't stop. This whole thing.
There's a reason I did this.
They came out and the first thing they said in their press conference was a lie, Mike. Sam Kennedy lied. The first thing in his press conference, he said, we made this decision on Saturday. No, you didn't make this decision on Saturday because you had a plane set for them to go, and reports are that plane needed 24 hours to get there. So you didn't. You had this plan. This was in the works for a while. This is what he's a liar. Sam Kennedy is an absolute liar. He's terrible for base. I always forget this, and it breaks my heart. There's one guy in that whole organization, in that whole freaking stupid ass John Henry crap that's there, and I want to know where he is because this has got to be eating him up, and that's Theo Epstein. God darn it, Theo, where the hell are you? We need Theo Epstein. Now, last thing. And then I'm done. You want to know who they should hire? It will never happen. But you want to know who they should hire? I've got the guy. No, because it won't be, because Veritek won't do it. But you know who they need to hire? And it won't happen because he's a baseball guy. And he probably doesn't want to do it. But the first name that came to my mind was Dustin Pedroia.
Oh my God, that town would go batshit if Dustin Pedroia was the manager of the Red Sox.
But right? Would that not be the guy?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
if you wanna really like go, hey, you know what Vegas Mack said on April 28th on the Mike Arana show was exactly right. Dustin Pedroia is our manager, Jason Veritek's our general manager, and Theo Epstein's the president of baseball operations. Because he is still back with the Fenway Group. We just don't know what closet they stuffed Theo in.
No joke. He's like,
I mean, that's what it is.
He needs to come out in his gorilla outfit again and do something. That's great.
All right, give me what the matchup you're looking forward to the most this weekend and why.
Oh man, two of the best
shop here.
Two of the best young pitching staff, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Absolutely love that matchup. Can't wait to watch it.
Go Pirates. Just for all the Reds people that are up in my business thinking I hate their team. No, that's going to be a fun one. And I love it because it is a test for both the Pirates, who I have high expectations for, and the Reds, who you have high expectations for. And they are the two flies in the ointment in that division with Chicago and Milwaukee. Sorry, St. Louis. Reds fans think I don't like their team. We don't have enough time left tonight to get into the Cardinals smoking freaking mirrors. The matchup I'm looking forward to the most this weekend, Kansas City and Seattle, because Kansas City, they've won 4 of their last 5 going into tonight's game, and the offense is starting to put it together a little bit. And it's an interesting matchup for them. It's obviously a key matchup in the American League long-term picture as we project farther into the weekend, or into the season. But like I'm looking at the series and I get Cole Reagans and Brian Wu. Brian Wu didn't look great in his last start. And then I've got Seth Lugo and Emerson Hancock. And on Sunday, we've got Chris Bubich and Luis Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
Those are three that if you were going to set, I mean, Noah Cameron maybe in that mix for the Royals, but if you were setting that up in a playoff series, that's two of the three guys for each team that we would get there. If Kansas City's offense can keep moving, and obviously their pit stop on the way is Sacramento, where they're playing tonight, that's always a good thing to get some more momentum going. But seeing their offense start to actually do some stuff, it's an encouraging sign for the Royals. Okay, T sent me this text a little while ago. Edmonton's up 1-0 on Anaheim early in that game. Buffalo and Boston have started overtime. Dallas up 3-1, or Minnesota up 3-1 on Dallas. 2:22 in, Podkolzin gets the goal for the Oilers. T sent me a text and he goes, "This kind of has the feeling of the making of the MJ flu game for Connor McDavid."
Okay.
Do you give the Oilers a shot? If they win tonight, because obviously you don't need to give them a shot if they lose, because then they're out. And wait till I tell you what comes when teams go out on nights before we do a show.
I mean, I could see Edmonton winning tonight, but I think the Ducks are going to win this series.
MJ flu vibes. You're going to go against that?
Yep.
You're going to go against that?
I am.
So TJ has done this thing for years called baikus. And if you're friends with TJ, if you're lucky enough to be friends with our guy TJ, you know about these. Anytime a team's eliminated in the postseason, he does a baiku, a haiku for the eliminated team. Well, every now and then I put song verses together. I can't sing, but I can write some pretty creative song verses. So, assuming that we have an elimination on tomorrow night's show, any night where TJ is on the show and I'm on the show and Mack is on the show, and there's been an elimination the night before, or maybe we'll just give you a couple of these just for free, just because we like doing it. Mack is going to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And it's my song verse versus TJ's baiku for eliminations. And we're going to give Mack the determining factor on who to say goes where. All right, it's Tuesday. Give me some ticket prices before we get our hat trick in and get up on out of here.
Hey, Thursday, Nationals at New York Mets, $3.
Ugh.
Hey, $3. Come on, you can't go better than that. PGA this week at Doral, $78. I got a double dip for you. Thursday night, the Battlehawks and the Kings in Louisville, $14. Again, UFL. That's one of our faves. But the double dip is the second part. You get to go to the Derby this weekend. I looked at prices for.
Stop. We are not gonna sour the name of the Kentucky Derby for your bullshit little add-in on the UFL.
All right.
Did you think I was not gonna catch that?
Well, yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's go this way then. How about it costs more to go to NASCAR this week than it does to go to the Derby? I'm trying to get the Derby in here one way or another.
There is nothing right about it. Costs you more to go to NASCAR than the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, $120 for the NASCAR, and then $107 for the Derby.
What is wrong with our country?
That's a good double dip, though. You get football on Thursday night. You could go get the 2-day package, so you go Friday, Saturday. So you go the football game Thursday night, the Derby, Friday night, Saturday. You could make it a whole weekend.
You know what terrifies me but excites me the most is we've talked about the show going on the road, and it will here soon, is the three of us at the Kentucky Derby.
I drove
because I could see you having the outlandish, ridiculous freaking hat. I could see T like doing it up like the proper suit and tie, and then I would be the asshole trying to go in the cutoff suit and tie kind of scenario. TJ, me 7 cold ones and Romans good for the Derby.
Do they have it?
What you guys don't know is you're making Derby predictions for a winner tomorrow night on the show. Shy checking in right now. They have been playing their asses off. Our guy, I have power. Murakami is ridiculous, but
is there a dress code?
Who is most liable to really be completely lost out of the three of us at the Kentucky Derby?
Lost?
Yeah, like just out of place.
I will be out of place because horses scare me. I don't like horses. They freak me out. So yeah, I don't know about that. That might be it might be a twosome on that trip.
Can we get Friday's show to Churchill Downs? Because Mack is scared of horses. Does anybody want to help get us to Churchill Downs this weekend?
I get this cough. I can't travel.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, let's get into hat trick tomorrow night. We're so far in the playoff hat trick. We've had goal scorers every night. You had Tippett on our first one. I had Alex Tuck. You had Dylan Gunther on the second one. You know who hasn't lit the lamp for us? And I know he's watching, so he might turn it off or say it was breaking up during this time. TJ has not got a lamp lighter for us yet in our hat trick plays.
I know.
What's up with that? Our resident puckhead.
Gonna send him to watch the horses.
You should see how I just spelled my pick's name down. So I'm going to start with T's pick for tomorrow. Yeah, just like I said. But can't talk right now, going through a tunnel. There you go. So T's pick for tomorrow night on the ice, our hat trick, $1. Trying to hit a hat trick. Every night of the playoffs, we hit it. We up the bet to $2. So tomorrow night on the ice, we've got 3 games, Canadians and Lightning, Penguins and Flyers, Mammoth and Golden Knights in that order. So T is going to start us with the last game, and he's going to go with Mr. LTIR, Mark Stone, to light the lamp for the Knights back at home at the Fortress tomorrow night. Mac, what do you got? Give me a goal scorer on the ice tomorrow night.
I was going to go. My original pick was JJ Peterka for Utah, but he got his butt benched at the end of the last game. I don't know if that's going to tick him off or he's just not going to play. But I stayed with Utah. I like the vibe. I'm going to go with Clayton Keller.
Clayton Keller. See, the other thing with Mac is like when the Hurricanes aren't playing, he says he can't root for Utah, but every goal scorer he picks on a non-Hurricane game day is a Mammoth. Come on, dude.
You know, there's.
Jesus. You know what I hope next year? The Bruins, the Hurricanes, the Mammoth. I think that
Rangers.
Covers. And the Rangers. I hope they're all not in the playoffs next year, so you were kerfuffled all postseason long having to try and find people. Zach Hyman just found the back of the net behind Lucas Dostal. It is 2-0. The Moss Pit is going crazy out in Edmonton. All right, so you've got Keller. He's got Stone. I'm going to go to the first game. My upset call in the newsletter today. I still believe in this team. Despite cheap hits maybe changing the series in the last game. I'm going to go to the Montreal Canadiens on the road at the Benchmark International Arena. Your arena sounds stupid, Tampa.
Stupid.
And I'm going with Nick Suzuki to light the lamp. We've seen kind of a little bit from everybody. For Montreal, obviously Slavkovsky's had a great series. I think it's time for Nick Suzuki to kind of get an FU moment. So I'm going to go with Suzuki. So Keller, Stone, and Suzuki tomorrow night.
The goal firm of them. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and we completely left off the Penguins-Flyers game, which is risky business here. So this is the first time we're going with same-game parlay on part of it. So
yeah,
Stone and Keller. So I either kill the bet before we get on the air tomorrow night, or right about when we're about finishing the show. We went hella long tonight. We appreciate you guys that have been with us. But right about when we're finishing the show tomorrow night, it's going to be up to you two stooges, or you two can tell me that I screwed it up. We've got a great scenario set up for tomorrow night's show. Any final words from you on this Tuesday?
No, thanks for letting me get that off my chest. And,
I'm proud of your restraint that you didn't come right out and slam the Steelers pick and then the Red Sox organization before I even got the particulars in. Like, I am proud of you tonight. That's like a proud parent moment.
Yeah. I don't even know.
That's a good way to finish.
Yeah.
For everybody behind the scenes, get your playoff action. All kinds of stuff going on. Empty net already for Dallas as they're down 3-1 with 3:26 left. Atlanta is down 19. There is a goal from Dallas, right? When I get done saying
Boston
that.
just won. The Bruins just won.
Did they? Oh,
They
shit.
did.
That just happened, too. So we got all kinds of stuff. See, this always happens at the end of the show. That's why you got to watch.
I think it might have been pasta.
Waiting for that. I'm waiting on the Dallas score. So, all right.
I can't
Let's
see.
finish
but
that update right now. The Knicks are up 19. Boston has just beaten Buffalo. Dallas had an empty net with 4 minutes left, and they just got a goal. Was it Pasta?
It was Pasternak. Great. He got they made a really big save. And he got a minor little breakaway. Oh, what a great move!
That goal that just went by for Dallas, I think they're crediting. Yep, they are crediting Jason Robertson with it. That's his fifth goal in the series. That was a weird in front of the net kind of play there. So 3-2 now in Dallas, 3:21 left in that game. What do you got?
Pasternak, forehand, backhand, back to his forehand, in tight space. He had just come off the bench, too. What a great goal by Pasta.
Things happen at the end of the show every night, so that means you have to be here with us tomorrow, all three of us. A goal for Edmonton. It is 3-0, basically 10 minutes in. We're going to get off the show because if we don't get off the show, more shit's going to happen. Leon Draisaitl with that one for the Oilers, who are up 3-0. For Vegas Mac, for T, tomorrow night, it's a hell of a lot of fun. All three of us in here. Make sure you're here. Tell your friends. Tag your friends. And by now, you know the drill. We appreciate you. We're out.